Mike, Peace Dealer, Michael.
Mike?
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely include some alien construct articles to this right here. So right now I'm on an alien construct article. Well, let me show you actually. So basically, this is the WeTransfer. So I'm basically just loading this up right now. I'm gonna send you this. You'll get the email from this third party. And
Okay.
then I'm basically sharing a link from this website right here. And I've included that there. The alien constructs, you have Pluto and Uranus, Jupiter, all falling on the rising with the sun, and that is like wow. So I look forward to coming into that. But Pluto and Uranus falling in that first house is an instrument alien construct.
No way.
Yeah, it's actually very significant. So I'm gonna include that for you right here. So
oh, you're the best.
Yeah, you're rating it in the article as well. So to see all that concentration of placement. To see all that, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you're straight. So yeah, as you can see, like Neptune instrument aliens can reflect the inherent god and goddess within each human being, assist the dying crossing over, and Uranian instruments can see the future, express genius, channel high frequency beings. So what we're going to uncover with that right off the bat, Virgo is the archetype and the zodiac sign of the critic, and also the master. So, you know, by definition, you are the master. And if Gemini is enlightenment and Sagittarius is ascension, Pisces is now the ascended master. So the reason why this is significant, one is going to have a lot to do with just the stellium here alone, like seeing all this concentration of Virgo placements. Anytime I do a reading with Virgo placements, there's always insane precision. We always see like degrees conjuncting or connecting at the exact degree. And where Scorpio is specificity, Virgo is precision, and of course it's analysis. So by very definition, you are analytical, but now the depth and level of analysis you're able to pretty much express in one moment is, I would pretty much say, legendary, where, you know, people may not realize within moments you've already analyzed their body language and you're able to really, like, you know, understand facets of how they're saying what they're saying, listen to I mean, I can only imagine, like, you deal with so much delusion from other people, and it's like you're here to help literally set people straight, or at least help them see what's real. Not to say that you're above criticism, but I mean, seeing the king of the gods, Jupiter, and then Mercury in its exaltation on your AC is just such a ridiculous attainment. I have Mercury on my AC in Taurus, though. You having it in Virgo is the embodiment of the magician with Jupiter, the wheel of fortune, the empress with Venus. So, you know, I do focus a bit on this level of embodiment right here, as far as like how you know, put yourself in a position to open up, and with Uranus and Pluto, you're awakening not only because Virgo is a social sign, where Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer is individual, then Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio are social. This is having you embody real social dynamics. So it's like your presence alone is not only awakening and transformative, but highly innovative. And just seeing Uranus here in the rising means that you express analytical, claircognizant genius that's outside the box. So just having Virgo is going to be, you know, someone being able to look at a situation inductively and deductively analyze that, like, within, you know, a couple minutes. But with you, you're able to just already automatically know what to analyze and where to really start, you know, noticing and focusing, I would assume. And I think this gives you a more uncanny embodiment and sense to not only really repair a situation and bring this change, because as mutable signs, we're agents of change, but it's really going to interface relative to how you can adjust to who you're speaking to and provide this criticism. Because with the empty Pisces house, seventh house, this is that open space that allows others to really project to you their beliefs, and you're able to really form beliefs based off of other people you're with, based off of this analysis of you. So let's actually go down each of the planets. You were born on the new moon, which is very significant. So that represents an activation of magic, an activation of analysis. You're an omen whenever someone's getting ready to change their behavior or change their life or change their habits. They're probably going to meet you. And to see Jupiter, the king of the gods, Mercury here is going to represent that your capacity to make very critical, analyzed, detailed, insights and decisions are going to also be expansive. So this just represents how much more you're able to evolve and take a situation and change it and add to it, but also, of course, analyze, break down, and provide that necessary criticism. Such a concentration of all these placements here. Here we go.
Sorry about that. Oh my God.
No, you straight.
I kind of lost you for some reason there, you know?
No, it's true.
Yeah, you were talking about Pisces and sorry, Michael. I clicked on something and I lost you. I don't know where you went.
No, it's cool. It's cool. And thankfully, yeah, you'll still anything that may be missed will be in the recording. But yeah, considering what you just said about Mercury retrograde, I think this is an interesting sneak peek. But yeah, I think Jupiter next to your AC. What I've been studying is constructs, God constructs, like planets that are next to the sun, moon, or rising. You having Jupiter so close to your AC, so close to the moon,
Right.
Right? You're a vessel of an instrument of this. We could even say royalty. Virgo is if Taurus is like a king, Virgo is like a prince, right? But and prince having a higher rank than king or queen. But this is where we are seeing, and that's what I really appreciate, this concentration of focus. So this would really suggest that you you have a bit okay. You have abilities to focus. But before I say that, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, the four zodiac signs after the first four, they're all social super signs. So they integrate individuality from the first four signs, and then they express socially. So Virgo is a social sign. Virgo rising means you have a social personality, social spirit, social soul, even if you're introverted, because Virgo is still the hermit, right? But it represents real social dynamics going out there. So to see Mercury here, this is going to represent, just with all this concentration, enhanced with Jupiter, superpowers of analysis, enhanced synesthesia. Pluto and Uranus add a supernatural quality to this that pretty much give you a form of God embodiment where you're able to now tap in beyond the transpersonal and beyond the physical to still ground what you're picking up collectively relative to everything in this real moment. And that's what I really want to get to when we get to Pluto and Uranus, because now this takes everything to a much deeper level. Like Pluto and Uranus and Virgo, representative of the late 60s and earlier in the late 50s. It's like analyzing details, but with a microscope, with a magnifying glass, and with those lenses.
Heavy duty.
Yeah, heavy duty. It's like I like to believe that the Virgo is going to be able to analyze the blinds on a window. They're going to be able to analyze details, but the Pluto Uranus Virgos are able to look microscopically and really see how all that. So for all this to really align with who you are as an instrument of these facets, it first of all, I would say out of all the thousands of charts I've read, this is, I think, the first, if not second or third, but I think first chart I've seen this heavily concentrated. in Virgo.
No way, really?
Yeah, yeah. And then especially being born in 68, to see Pluto and Uranus here, like I've seen Virgo stelliums, but I've never seen a Virgo stellium like this. And that's where it's like, it's not a coincidence where with this level of precision, you being born right next to Jupiter and then Mercury, it really speaks of this royalty that you kind of bring to you. You stepping, in fact, even me speaking to you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if something serendipitous happens to me and like I come into good luck, because you're literally magic at your core, your embodiment. You facilitate this real change that functions and helps really align things with what's real. And given the evil that comes from ignorance, beliefs, and that's what's going to make Pisces the opposite, because Virgo is analytical, Pisces is beliefs, collective beliefs. Virgo has to oppose Pisces, because if we just believe anything and we don't necessarily have a basis for what's factual, people will just make stuff up. So this is where, with Saturn opposite you and Pisces, it could really represent, being against the world in a sense, or just having to deal with that collective narrative and belief, and people, if anything, demonizing you for not enabling their delusions. And that's really been the battle for Virgo. But you principally embody this at a level where I think most people never will. And to see Jupiter here, it brings this larger than life presence that is, I think, a form of a Midas touch, where you're always going to really expand and evolve maybe even the smallest or slightest details to show what more is a part of this. But we see this aligns all with who you are and how you express yourself. So Mercury, when we talk about Mercury, Mercury is in its exaltation and dignity in Virgo, representative, of course, of the highly analytical ways you're able to break down speech patterns, body language, and really kind of get deeper, to a more detailed understanding of a situation. And then Venus here, the Nine of Pentacles in Tarot, which is wealth, is now going to represent the polish and the beauty, right, of how you're able to not only embody this natural beauty, but to now add beauty to the way you communicate. Mercury next to the AC indicates someone who knows what they want. Your brain is very sharp. You're able to communicate yourself very well. That's one thing we both share in common. It's just, I have my Mercury in Taurus. Your Mercury in Virgo is at a higher, more mature level that really now conduces more social conversation, analysis, but now aligning that to express how you analyze it, how you behave around it. And Venus here is really just going to add so much more beauty and polish and charm to how you express this. So far, knowing that all this happened on the new moon cycle aligns this embodiment of this new change of behavior, this activation of, this reality, to now how you evolve it. Mercury is going to be your ability to wrap your brain around all of this, and Venus is how you manifest in this charm. So by the time we get to Pluto and Uranus, this quite literally now awakens this to a deeper level. And whenever I see contacts with Pluto, Pluto is going to really, to me, denote awakening people, awakening people out of unconscious influences, which I feel like in Virgo could be mannerisms, detailed understanding of things people may not necessarily be aware of when it comes to how it is they express themselves. And something like this could make you not only intimidating, but attract a certain or bring a certain reaction out of people that could have them maybe not, it doesn't have to be bad. Like I feel like if there's no ego around it, then they may thank you. But if they are stuck in their ego, then it could, especially with Chiron and Aries, that heals authenticity by triggering those who are inauthentic. It could kind of express itself in that way. Before we go though into the Libra second house, because as a Virgo rising, Libra in your second house means that you manifest classic value. Okay. And in manifesting classic value, it puts you in a position to now build money from partnerships, to connect and to add more, like the way you make money. And to make sense of this, Once again, my rising is in Taurus, and so my second house is Gemini of communication. I got paid so I could communicate with you. So this is how I activate and manifest my second house. You have your second house in Libra. So compared to me, this is like the next stage. So whereas I'm connecting and manifesting one-on-one communication, you're in these social spaces manifesting partnerships with people. As they say, partnerships are the key to success. You add social value to whoever it is you're engaging with, and this is how not only you get paid, but with the South Node in Libra, you came into this lifetime to establish this social value and to invest in individuals, which we'll talk about with the North Node in Aries, connected with Saturn of karma, which seems to be the challenge of your destiny attached with healing, where it's going to be challenging for you to trust the right individuals with your value and to really transform facets of their identity and to move forward passionately amongst other things. Whenever we see like a North Node in the 8th house, you're taking the South Node, your second house resources, as a resource in order to find the right individuals to invest what you have towards and to transform those partnerships. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, that's really awesome. That's really awesome because with Saturn. Oh, go ahead.
I used to manage my mom's apartment buildings for like over 30 years, and she just passed away in June of 2023 last year. So she kind of like forced me, in my mind, to be her slave and do her work for her. And I never really wanted. I had other things I wanted to do than to be an apartment manager for my mom, But now that she passed away, I wrote a book. I wrote a poetry book. This is my poetry book right here. Nice. Time Machine Portals. I just finished my second poetry book last month on Halloween, and that's in my editor. I have another book that I've done. It's in my editor now too, a second editor. It's called Embracing Divine Love.
Spiritual. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Embracing Divine Love. An essay on how to know thyself by integrating spiritual principles.
Love that.
I was a drug addict when I was a teenager and in my 20s. And when I turned 27, or on my Saturn return, I became clean in November 20th, 1994. This past November 20th, I just celebrated 30 years clean and sober, no drugs or alcohol. And I've been a part of a 12-step group, Narcotics Anonymous, since then. However, I went to Greece this year after my mom passed away for a month. And I want to move to Greece next summer in like July, August. And my father left me and my sister 4.5 acres of land on the Mediterranean over there. So I want to build a couple of houses over there and make that my home base. Jupiter line is on my my MC. Astrocartography at all or no?
I've heard of it. I've looked up certain lines, but
okay.
Get better at it.
If I live on Kiparisia, my dad's hometown, that would be on my Jupiter line, my MC Jupiter line. And then I might live in Kalamata, which is my Mercury line, my Mercury MC line. So I'm leaning towards Kalamata. I'm living on my Mercury line. And when I got back from Greece in June, I got back June 1st. I've been going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as well for the past year since then. And now in July, I shifted and I left and said goodbye to everybody in Narcotics Anonymous. I said, fuck you all, motherfuckers, pieces of shit. And I left, and now I'm in a whole new tribe, I guess you can call it. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got a sponsor now. I'm working steps. I have a home group. I've been to a lot of meetings, and the main reason I left was because in Narcotics Anonymous, they stopped talking about God. They stopped talking about God as a solution. And I was telling everybody, and then people weren't coming as much as they used to. And I'm like, Narcotics Anonymous is dying, and nobody was listening to me. I became the public relations chair for 6 months. Nobody came to my meetings. And I said, fuck this shit, I want to go somewhere where they talk about God. And that's what they do in Alcoholics Anonymous. And now I picked up my my medallion at a meeting that has over 200 people every week. Okay, in Narcotics Anonymous, that's not possible. There's no such meeting that has 200 people every week. Maybe like 20.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, hell no to Narcotics Anonymous, and I left. I left my fucking tribe for 29 years that I was with them, and now I'm in a whole completely new fellowship, really. And I'm gonna have to say goodbye to them when I go to Greece.
Well, that I have chills now because Jupiter is going to go into your 11th house of tribe and community next year. And that sounds like you're coming into a brand new like social circle, or you're evolving your social circle. So that's, and then and Saturn in your 7th is raising the standards of who you part with. So I appreciate you sharing that, because that was very, very, very revealing. And you had mentioned, so, oh yes, 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 the Jupiter MC line. I would, if you're able to check that place out and just,
yeah, I did. I like it.
Okay, because Jupiter is on your MC in Gemini right now. So right, 2016 is where you had your last Jupiter return, and you stepped into a brand new 12-year chapter of evolution. 2022 is when you began to harvest 6 years worth of evolution since 2016, and now you're finally completing it. It's leveling up your legacy. This is the completion of everything you've evolved since 2016, and that's why I feel like being in that area during this period could probably facilitate being on that line, more career opportunities. Even if you don't like live there or stay there, I think it's good that you were there. So thanks for mentioning that. But that's a lot to look forward to. Next year, 2025, it's going to go into Cancer. It's going to begin to close that out by giving you the rewards. So I think that's a very important thing. Everything since 2016, you're coming into massive rewards for it. And everything about 7th house Pisces is divine partnerships. You guys sponsor that for other people. And it's like introducing God into the equation as well. And so this is that karma that Saturn since 2023 has been having you hold others accountable to. The integrity of how their beliefs affect you. And I think that's what you kind of showed me, like, you know, in them not putting God into what they're doing, but also just, you know, reflecting whether people live out what they believe or not, and how if they don't, Saturn in your 7th house will lead them away from your life. So this is actually harvesting everything that you started 2008, because 2008 Saturn was in Virgo, and now you've completed that and you're getting ready for your Saturn return like 2027, 2028. So I think it's really great fulfillment. Mars is retrograde. It's going to return in your chart next year. But just to kind of go over that stellium once again in Virgo, like, it's definitely, once again, the mutable signs are magic. So it really does facilitate how well you're able to take the perspective and make it real, change it, help people understand and be aware of what's real. Because I always say Gemini answers the question what, Pisces answers the question why, Sagittarius answers what does it mean, and Virgo answers the question how things work, how we analyze things. So it wouldn't be far off to say, you know, you are a living analyzer, critic, right? But the presence of Jupiter, Pluto, and Uranus adds so much more of a godly essence to this, that now with Uranus, it's going to represent your identity as a social innovator. And you literally showed me how like, you know, in shaking up what needs to be shaken up, so necessary changes come so that it could evolve, so that it could grow. But yeah, seeing Uranus here, now that Uranus is 27 degrees Taurus, is once in a lifetime. Like you've now drawn up this innovation you've embodied, and you're grounding it philosophically on how well you can now manifest this unconventionality relative to how you show people your genius, quite literally. And you're able to, you know, ground it relative to how you teach what it is you practically, you know, manifest. I think your writing is also a great example of this, because with all these placements, people reading your book will feel into that magical experience. Even if on the surface it's just them reading words on a page, it's like you've infused that nature into these books, into this writing. So I think that's also very awesome. Now, in seeing all this, we know that Virgo is analysis, which then makes Scorpio psychoanalysis. And Scorpio is going to now, if Virgo is going to be more the physical counterpart of analysis, it's going to really look at the details and facts. Scorpio is going to now dive deeper into psychoanalytical influences, into one's psychology and psyche. And to see that you have Neptune in Scorpio, I've always looked at Neptune in Scorpio as very interesting and pure, just relative to how deep it is. And how anyone who had my mom has this. She was born in I think 62, and
Yeah.
it's a level of psychic ability that's so uncanny that I've seen The Mentalist, the person who wrote the show The Mentalist. He does a show out here, and I've seen him twice. He was born with Sun and Neptune on Scorpio, and he's using real psychic abilities. Like I think he knows how to perform it. Like, oh, it's a trick, but like, it made me respect your generation and this year, because you guys have matured this level of, I mean, he does mentalism, so it could really just be like magic tricks, but and engaging the psyche and really being able to peer, he was reading people's minds on stage and stuff, which I do believe you also have this ability to read minds as well. But it's like the Neptune aspect in the third house is going to actually represent a psychological super ability. And Scorpio is psychological super strength. So everything that you analyze, the way I see it is like you'll analyze everything on your person. Like you can just kind of very quickly, it's literally impossible to lie to you. Like you're going to be aware and understand.
Nobody lies to me. If they do, you know what I like to do? That's when I lie to people. When I find out people are lying to me, I lie back to them, and I send them on a wild fucking goose chase, and I laugh at them. Yeah. I laugh at those motherfuckers. Excuse my language. But you got to realize that for the past 29 years, I've been going into rooms of people, at least like 10 to 20 rooms of people, and when I walk in, I could completely read the room, and some people just don't like me at all, and some people love me, and I think that's the Pluto and Uranus. The Pluto actually. Some people get drawn towards me really well, and others are like, "What are you talking about, John?"
I have chills. The Pluto makes people extremely hate you or extremely love you. There's no in between.
Yeah. So I get that, because I've been going to these rooms like for years, and I could totally feel the energy when I walk in. And the lies. I despise lies. Yeah.
No, but still that's really revealing. And I think it's because there's a purity. I think Pluto adds such a pureness or an extremeness to maybe your aura or how real you are. I always like to say Virgo is the realest zodiac sign. Like you aren't going to really sugarcoat it for people. You're going to keep it real. And I think that slight extreme and unconventionality is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable who are afraid of change, who are too like tapped into tradition, because they don't know you're literally here to change and innovate that. And once you show up, it's never going to be the same. So that could also make people uneasy. But now Neptune in Pisces is going to be the intangible element, the non-linear element that's going to have to discern intuitively through your imagination what you're analyzing is on a deeper level. And I want to really speak to that because Neptune here in the third is going to open up. It's like having the analysis and the details, and then your Neptune is like now peering deeper in, like, okay, I see this person, they didn't take a shower, but the Neptune's like, maybe it's because they had a fight with their mom this morning. Like you could definitely discern unseen metaphysical phenomena just intuitively that aids with
how did you know I didn't take a shower this morning?
Oh my God.
I had to run to the hospital.
Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I got in your role.
No, you straight. And I've I'm very marveled by this aspect, though. Like to see the Neptune sextile, specifically Pluto and Uranus. So it takes those supernatural aspects of the analysis, and I feel like it effortlessly and claircognizantly feeds you with just insight there's no way you could have known unless you really like know that person. I just wanted to fish to see if that's accurate for you, because the Neptune at like I remember my mom called me one day and she asked me if I was smoking because she had a dream of me smoking. And
Oh, wow.
right, like just indirect stuff like that, where it's like you're able to gain information from literally dreams, otherworldly senses. In this case, in the third house, it's going to be a very strong psychoanalytical discernment that will always aid your analysis, that'll have you really, I think, like you said, read the room and sense the true motives of who you're connecting with. Because in the third house, this is most definitely a skill set. And it enables you to apply this wisdom and depth of psychological analysis to, I think, really have people unknowingly snitch on themselves, really reveal their true motives while they don't even realize. You could be having a small talk conversation with them and you discern these things from their mannerisms and the way they move their body and say things, that I think it gives you so much more insight than the average person may even be aware. And oh, go ahead.
People tell me stuff like they never tell anybody else,
Right.
but they intuitively know they can trust me with it, because I'm a vault. You know, I'm not gonna repeat the stuff that people have told me.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of know. I don't know if they know that, how they know that, but one thing I'll tell you, one job I used to do. I used to be an outside salesperson for a dealership with ADT,
Okay.
and I used to knock on 100 doors a day selling alarm systems. And I was basically in people's homes every night. I was in people's homes. So I got really good at convincing people to let me into their homes. And I did that for 3 years. It was a 100% commission job. So if I didn't sell, I didn't get paid. And I'd be in people's homes all the time, and like their pets, their cats and dogs, they would come up to me. I'd call their names and I'd snap my fingers and I'd pat my leg, and they're like, these people would be like, John, my cat never comes out for anybody, but she came out for you, you know. And my dog, he's always hiding from people or whatever, and like, but they would come to me, you know, and that showed them that they could trust me for the sale, you know. And I did that for 3 years straight, knocking on doors. You know?
I appreciate that, because that shows me Saturn in the eighth, the eighth house of trust, and I feel like that ties into your karma of being able to, that challenging karma of gaining people's trust, because the eighth house is other people's money. It's
Right.
people trusting you with their identity, with who they are, and it's like you have the integrity to really unlock that, heal that. That's another thing, healing too. It's like during these instances, it's like people are probably able to trust the right people more because of these situations, even if indirectly. But I'm glad you segued or mentioned that, because that does segue into this yacht where we have Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune. And right, the focus of Saturn, this finger of God aspect, is going to take the perspective. So we have the perspective of analysis here and the magic, and then we have the energy of Scorpio, which is the psychological depth, the psychoanalytical foundation to strengthen through wisdom this analysis. And then Saturn is going to be the potency, the power that focuses it towards this direction, this original direction. So it's going to really influence the nature of this karma and work ethic relative to your own, expression of self, and then your attitude. Neptune in the third is actually the emotional intelligence. Scorpio in the third, it represents deep emotional intelligence, and then that's going to really influence how specifically you deal with others. The eighth house is really dealing with other people. Aries is going to suggest raw and original, but with Saturn, with full integrity. And, that, of course, is going to have you hold others accountable to who tries to take advantage of you, because anyone who does will get their karma, I think, quite immediately, since you're putting yourself vulnerably out there in an effort for destiny itself to protect your own value. So that would be interesting to kind of see. And then you had your nodal return this year. So the North Node is in Aries. So I think that eclipse was really good for unlocking wealth. And now, before your Saturn return, getting ready to really revisit and influence who you're going to move forward with next year, when Jupiter goes in your 11th and you may move, and you're going to connect with a much more expanded social circle or evolve your current social circle. And then the North Node is going to go into Pisces next year by March. And then it's going to unlock, South Node is going to unlock your mastery of personality. So the focus is going to be towards destined partnerships. And now that shows us that from 2023, Saturn has been raising the standards of your partnerships. It's been, normally when Saturn transits 1/7, they get ready for divorce, marriage, business partnerships.
Yeah, I got divorced.
Oh, how recently?
2015.
2015. Okay, so this is when Saturn was still like in Scorpio. Good to know. Good to know. And so since 2015, now it's at 2023. So yeah, this is going to really prepare for more serious partnerships that have matched where you've become. And once again, Saturn Pisces now is a reflection of all the integrity and hard work you had to put on yourself since 2008. So Saturn, since Virgo, has gone all the way there, and now it's in Pisces relative to the last Saturn return you had. And now this is construction on your relationships. What that looks like is, since 2023 in March, you've been holding other people accountable in your relationships. When Saturn goes to the 7th, it's going to bring issues and relationship tests to make sure you're not backing down from pressures from others, but you're still holding other people accountable. And through this, and it doesn't have to be bad, this could even represent strengthening partnerships and, moving more seriously. But the purpose of this is it's putting construction to stabilize this, so that when the North Node comes through next year, it's going to unlock all these partnerships. And then you're going to get ready to return your Saturn and continue to transform this authority you have to deal with people, to help transform, guide them with your own value, and to push forward. So it's safe to say a lot of this past decade and last year is preparing you for the next couple of years for sure. And then on top of that, you have Neptune that's also transiting your 7th house, trining your Neptune. So Neptune in the 7th transcends a lot more of how you're perceiving beyond the physical when it comes to people. It's like people are holding space to show you not only how their beliefs are influencing their relationship with you, but what spirits, what mindsets, what ideologies are possessing them to be against you, to connect with you. And because you have all this analytical Virgo placements, it unlike others who could be deluded, it helps you hold space so that you can snap people out of their dream and illusion. And the way you may do so may be abrupt, it may be unconventional, it may be scary to people who, they don't know anything other than maybe this lie. So, that's very interesting as far as everything you've gone through the past year and a half, and how you've completed this nodal return to get ready for this next stage. I think it should be celebrated, because this is representative of you completing very important cycles, completing that evolution since 2016, harvesting karma and getting ready to come to another Saturn return since 2008, and before that since 97. So it's really, I think, going to play a huge hand moving forward, and how everything is going to be shifting because you've completed that first part and you're getting ready to make do with this evolution. So the Neptune in the 3rd, that's going to be able to, I feel Neptune in Scorpio in the 3rd is able to just, give you insight about people without needing the details beforehand while you still have the details. And then now that it's trine in Pisces, you're able to extend that perceptually and really see it in people, really see it in front of people, present it to people, almost as if out of thin air. And this is
Yeah, it gave me the insight to leave NA in June and jump ship and go to a whole different fellowship in July of this year. You know, it really did give me insight to do that. And
okay.
I started a YouTube station in September 11th, 2023, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be about. I basically put my poetry stuff videos on there, and then I started putting some other stuff, and then I was getting some kickback from everybody, like, we don't want to see this shit, John. And I'm like, okay. And then I got back from Greece and decided to make a couple more videos. And that last video I made on my channel was in August. And now I have a whole new shift of what I want my channel to be. And after I talk with you this week, tomorrow or the next day, even probably today, I have a website, restoringourworldtoparadise.com, and basically it's like a book. So it's like a terrible website because all it is like a book. So now I figured out like how I could change. So this whole retrograde season of Mercury, I'm going to be changing my website, changing my direction, changing my attitude, and making new stuff for my channel. My channel is called Reality Within, and yeah, that's basically where my direction is going now. I have like a whole new direction that I'm going with everything that I've made, especially on my channel. So,
and I think you could look forward to your channel blowing up unexpectedly too. In fact, now that we're in Sagittarius season, this is the first time that the sun is going to oppose Jupiter in your 10th house. So I think it's going to change your environment. No, that's the 4th house of home. But I think it's going to, over the next 6 months, increase. And thank you for letting me know July is when this happened, when we were in your 11th house of community. So right. So that's a really good sign. Like you made the, you're making the right moves, and all of this is going to come back around by next year, by June 5th of 2025. Boom. Like that's when the sun is going to conjunct Jupiter in that 11th house, 10th house portion. And that's going to represent a whole year of just abundance, rewards, being around the right people, coming into this completion, unlocking who you are and all your gifts towards the right people. I think, divine partnerships, relationships, like I wouldn't be surprised if you enter something significant now, if you already have by next year. So everything's kind of opening up and settling for that. And then, of course, MC and Gemini, your legacy is to get the truth out. Your legacy is to be heard. And so you being you fighting against that pushback and just putting yourself out there is the smartest thing you could ever do, because people need to hear your insight. You are literally the embodiment of mastery and perfection through Virgo or improvement at this, so in now connecting with this North Node Aries, which is challenging yourself to share your value, to put yourself out there, which you do with great integrity, as we see with Saturn. That it's not only going to open up, but I feel like as Saturn returns throughout the next 3 years, the 8th house is a house of trust. I think this could have you open up a trust, add to an existing trust, come into a huge trust fund, even if not in an official way, still very powerfully. And then, of course, last but not least, we do have Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo is the whistleblower, actually, especially in the 12th, like who's going to stand up and not.
I am going to open up a trust in the next couple months.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We had one for my mom, and we have to wait a year after she passes for if there's any like creditors or stuff like that. So we have the trust still open for my mom, but when she passed, I got like an inheritance. So I want to put that in a trust for my niece and stuff like that. All
right. Thank you.
So that's going to happen. Yeah.
You just gave me. I have chills right now, because Now you help me understand what the Saturn return is. So the Saturn return that you're going to have Aries is you establishing the trust. And then over the next 30 years from then, it's going to be building that trust. And then just kind of securing you and your family for life, to be honest. So or whoever's a beneficiary and whatnot. But thank you, because that's why I love feedback like this, because it really helps me see how to make sense of these things.
I want to tell you a real quick story about. I went to open a trust about a month or so ago. Okay, and I walked into the office of this guy, and like I'm telling him, I'm not sure if I want to give my my trust to my niece, because she doesn't like respond to my calls. She doesn't respond to my texts. She doesn't, but she's like 21 years old. Most kids don't text, and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know if she's willing. And I go, and he's like, oh, that fucking bitch, he says. And I go, what the hell is this motherfucker saying this about my fucking goddamn bitch ass? And fuck, who is this guy? And then I said to him, I go, listen, I'm going to ask her to edit my second book. And if she does it, then I'll put her in the trust. And then my sister went, and this and that happened. And then my sister went, and they told him to meet at like this other office. And it turns out this guy, I told my sister about him calling my niece a bitch, and my sister's like, what the fuck? And then we decided to so she pulled out of that thing, and they did like an investigation on him, and now he's no longer with the company. And and because he did like the seminar anyways. So I kind of saw through this guy, is what I'm trying to tell you. I saw through this guy. This guy's not a good person, and I don't want to have him do my trust. And so my sister went ahead with somebody else, and now I'm like, I just haven't found the time to do that. So yeah, that's the trust story for me.
That's so interesting. And when did this happen?
Like October.
Okay. That was the eclipse. Okay, good to know. So thanks
for eclipse, really?
Right. It was the eclipse opposite your Saturn when the South Node was in Libra. So that lets us, right? So from now to April. So that gives me a timeline for those 6 months. Since they're related, I think you can look forward to January when we're in Capricorn, and then March, April, past the eclipse. And I think every week from now is going to just guide you towards, succeeding in that, getting that established, set up. It seems to be a part of this nodal destiny mission with the return.
You're saying to start it in February?
No.
Now?
I think you can start it whenever, but you're going to, the fact that happened in October lets us know that by March you're going to have it complete. Like it's going to be set up and everything.
Okay.
Right. So we can look towards October to February and March, rather to setting it up and then moving forward. And that's really what 2024 was about. 2024 was about shifting our perspective and changing everything. And then we're going to move forward in that new direction in 2025. And then scale to the rest of the decade. But yeah, Uranus is going to leave Taurus. It's going to start to go into Gemini late 2025, coming into 2026. And that's where your MC is. So that's going to unconventionally shift how much maybe a YouTube channel or just your presence out there and your word out there is going to be heard. Very unconventionally. I think it could even bring virality in a certain sense. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Jupiter right now has expanded your reputation, your career, your legacy. And then over the rest of the decade, Uranus is going to go through there and it's going to speed things up. It's going to innovate it. It's going to accelerate it. It's going to make your success highly unconventional. So I think you getting this all ready in between means that you're right on time. You're flowing perfectly. Mars in Libra in the 12th represents hidden action, passionate action, but it could represent inhibitive function where you may hold back sometimes, or you may take action more hidden and private, but it does still represent the passion and boldness with which you'll stand on what you believe and not back down. And it also represents certain unconscious habits that when fallen back on could hold you back, but now when transcended is actually like a supernatural power, this resilience to just keep moving forward and not give up, really. But yeah, something to keep in mind, because Mars is in Leo right now. So it's going to retrograde back into Cancer. And then next year it's going to go through Leo and then just kind of revisit. So if you feel lethargic, maybe not like doing much, this is just kind of preparing you coming into next year to, restore that energy, restore that desire and motive. But yeah, I mean, other than that, you've had your Chiron return, you've had your nodal return, and now you're going to have your Saturn return. And then that should be, and then also the last thing I want to say is, we're clearly concluding these themes from like 2016, from 2008, from 97. So once we get to 2028, Jupiter is going to be back in the Virgo. And that's what's going to launch a brand new 12-year cycle for you relative to your rising. So everything from now until then is completion. You're coming into the rewards, you're shifting gears. And that's where if things kind of fall off or change, it's just because it's getting you ready for a brand new cycle and a brand new chapter. So you just want to look at it like, okay, this is me coming into the rewards of everything I've evolved in myself since 2016. And this is just going to shift how it is you're connecting with other people and moving forward with other people.
So I've heard Mars and Leo in the 12th be called like the spiritual warrior.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's like I think in the 12th, because I have Mars and Aries in the 12th, but I feel like,
oh, you do?
Yeah. But Aries is going to be hot right now, and then it's going to lose energy. Your Mars and Leo is like a bond.
Steady.
It's going to, and it's going to keep it. I think in the 12th, you may not be so quick to anger. You may hold it back, but then once it comes out,
it's like a volcano.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit, I got explosive sometimes, but that hasn't happened in a long, long time. But I mean, I've been like, especially in my marriage. Oh my God.
What was her zodiac sign?
She was a Leo sun.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, she was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
But she wasn't a nice person. She was very mean-spirited to everybody. So we were together from first date till divorce for 11 years, and we were married for 5.
That's deep. And okay, and I feel like with the timing of that, you said 2012, like that was after you completed
I got divorced 2015.
2015, right? Yeah. I think that was when it was leaving Scorpio, going into Sagittarius. So that kind of aligns with interesting timing. I'll say that Saturn was opposite your Saturn back in like 2012. So then by 2015, boom, the 8th house of cutting or transformation, stuff like that just lets me know, you're aligned with the right time, and yeah. So, I mean, if anything, I'm gonna send you this recording, but I'd love to keep in touch. I think this was really educational, definitely for me. And any questions that you have, please don't hesitate to hit me up. I'd definitely love to help you answer them.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
No problem. You're going to get this recording from WeTransfer. So, yeah, I'll just send it to you there.
All right. Now, I recorded it for myself with video. Would you be opposed to eventually me putting it on my station or no?
Oh, that's totally fine. Normally,
okay, I'll let you know if when I do it, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I want to do it and when.
Normally, I need permission from you if I want to upload it, but as far as this is all yours. Whatever you decide to do with it, it's all up to you.
All right.
Yeah, it's totally fine. All right. Well, I'm going to send you this recording right now once again, and I'll attach the chart, the picture of the chart to it too.
Okay. Right. Thanks, Michael.
All right. You have
a great night, great day, and the rest of the week.
Likewise.